And we're live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Authentic Hustle, episode number 14. We have our co-host, Kelly Kennedy,
Thank you.
my good friend. I had great time being on his show a long time ago. I think it was episode 120. He has now close to 300 episodes, right?
Yeah, it's like 100 episodes ago already. It's crazy how time flies.
Kelly Kennedy, he's also a business development coach. He's a fantastic human being. And if you you should connect with Kelly. He has a lot of business development tips. And go watch his podcast, Business Development Podcast. Great show. He has phenomenal guests. Out and out. Great guy. And today we miss Colin. Today we are missing our friend Colin Harms. He's on a trip. He's in California. Enjoy your trip, Colin. We'll miss you. We'll see you on the next show.
Watching. I bet you he's taking a minute just to tune in right now.
Yeah, great guy, a visionary of Hyperback. We'll see you around next time. Today, I just want to start off about a topic which is quite intense in terms of before we start spinning the wheel. So this whole war broke out between India and Pakistan, and the whole narrative behind it is there are about 25 people killed in the northern India, in the northern part of India, about 25 people killed, and only men. And they were asked, what is your religion? Are you a Hindu or a Muslim? Or you're a Hindu? Boom, you're killed, right? So that's what happened. And last night, India attacked back, and now all the news we are hearing is they attacked the terror groups and whatnot. I just have a few things I want to share about a real 2-minute video, and then we'll dive it right back to our spinning the wheel thing.
Let's do it.
So here's a video that Patrick Bet David put out. You're able to see my screen, okay?
Yeah, we can see it great.
Okay, I'll just play the first 2 minutes of it, then we'll back to our conversation.
Wow, dude! Yeah, I had no idea.
That's the situation. Just a recap of that. So go watch that full video that PBD made. It's just on YouTube. It's on everywhere. So I just want to caution people of one thing. I mean, the people are as much as they are cheering for India. It's great. I mean, this is what scenario is being going on, and based on what I'm hearing, if the perpetrators were targeted and attacked, it's a huge win for India, and congratulations to everyone involved. They called it Operation Sindoor, a lot of marketing around it. The biggest thing that worries me about this whole situation is the inflated marketing on the situation that I see. I support India as much as I support India, of course, but it reminds me of the I support Ukraine campaigns. Remember people putting those flags in their profiles and whatnot. Similarly with I support Israel campaigns. I just don't want this to escalate more into a nuclear or other situation.
Yes.
My only word is caution on this. That's all. I'll stop at that.
Yeah. Wow. No, I like to say that I'm pretty up to date, but I've been so focused on what's been going on here in our backyard in Canada with the United States thing that this was completely over my head. I had no idea this was going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of tension around it, and it's been warming up for last 30 days when the attack happened, and there's always been tension between the two people. Although I'm saying every Pakistani I met, Kelly, beautiful people, wonderful people. Actually, I never had any problems. They're really kind people, but this whole situation is to the Western world and otherwise, they claim they have a democracy, but they don't really have a democracy. The army kind of controls the civilian government kind of. So that's a problem with Pakistan. That's the whole thing. Yeah. And remember what they tried to do with Trump in terms of they're trying to litigate him and trying to before the election and trying to pin him against with this whole Democrats trying to do that to him.
Yeah.
So in Pakistan, it's even worse. And basically they have got the former prime minister in jail right now. There's no really quote unquote democracy, if you will. So that's a kind of a problem. And many people are just waiting for him to be freed. Hopes that happens one day. But anyway, just a quick recap on the topic. Back to what we want to talk about. Should I go share the Authentic Hustle wheel?
Yeah, I just have, one more thing to say on that. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you're from. We're all human. We're all people, right? And I think we forget that. It's you made the comment, you've met people from Pakistan. They were incredibly nice people. I've met people from Iran. They were incredibly nice people. I've met people that were Russian. They were incredibly nice people. I've met people from around the world. I think as people, we are people. We all love our families. We go to work every day. We try to make an impact in the world. I think we need to remember that more in these situations, is that we're a lot more alike than we are different.
100%. Humanity is worth it. Yeah. Just don't let the innocent suffer, man. That's,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
all I ask for.
I would say probably one of my biggest fears definitely is a nuclear war, right? It's obviously, I feel like we're cool now with just being like, yeah, we're going to do that. And like nobody really thinks of what the repercussions of a war on that scale would be, but sticks and stones, people, that would be the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's never an option. Nuclear is never an option because if
Never.
one country starts it, there's no ending actually. No one wins in a nuclear war.
Nobody wins.
Yeah.
We all suffer.
All right, let's go spin the wheel for the week. So back to Authentic Hustle. This is our, if you haven't seen our website.
Goodness, what are we going to get today?
Yeah, let's spin it today. So into the secret code. Okay, we have 3 topics, Kelly. How do you rebuild after failure?
Mm-hmm.
Or should consumers have full control over their personal data? Or protectionism versus free trade, which benefits the global economy more? I'll let you pick.
Okay. They're all challenging topics. I don't know with this one, dude. I'm going to kick it back to you. What do you think you want to take on?
Should consumers have full control over personal data? Kind of, yeah. Protection.
They're all hard topics today.
Which benefits the global economy more? Yeah. I think this is a topic that anyone can relate to. I think in terms of like free trade.
Yeah.
Right. The more economies are trying to protect it, and the free trade. I mean, even in the U.S.-Canada situation, you look at it, right? I mean, the free trade is the way. Right. I mean, it's all about like. I mean, Trump has a different narrative, like U.S. suffers and Canada benefits. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying like. Free trade is kind of the way. I mean, I like this topic. I mean, I like all 3 topics.
Yeah. You know what? I think maybe rebuilding after failure could be a really, really great topic that me and you can both speak to pretty good.
Awesome. Let's do it.
All right, guys. How do you rebuild after failure? VJ, what does failure mean to you?
Failure, so it's a very personal thing. Failure is my favorite topic in terms of like not failing, but at the same time, the lessons that you learn from failure are never forgotten.
Yes,
right, because you can spend hours and days on a book or on a show or learning courses, but the lessons that the failure teaches, that's the biggest teacher, according to me.
Mm-hmm.
So rebuilding after failure, yes. I think you have to find a way to fail fast and fail forward. That's what I think is the right way to look at failure.
Yeah.
And also like, I mean, as much as we are all looking for success, right, Kelly? I mean, like we are running towards something. We're running towards a mission, vision. We are running towards it. We all want to succeed. I think it's. I've heard it long back. Failure is a stepping stone to success. It kind of is. I never understood when I first heard it like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But I now clearly see it. Because sometimes when I go launch a video, I fail at probably putting the captions right. I probably putting out a post right. I probably forgot to tag someone, or I forgot to send a document to a client, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. So in the follow-up, I understand, I missed it. And maybe I should have pitched it like this instead of like this.
But I challenge you, because is missing something truly a failure? Like, or could it be just as successful because you missed it, right?
Yeah.
Failure to me is not living up to my own incredibly high expectations, right? It's not so much for me about failing other people. I don't think I fail other people all that much. I think I fail myself way more than I fail other people, because I always want to strive higher, do better, put out more shows, have a better show, get more download numbers, whatever. And I internalize so much of that. And I think so many people do that. I don't think failure is as much about failing other people as it is failing yourself. What do you think on that?
Yeah. I mean, like when you're a business owner, when you're an entrepreneur, like no, you don't report to a boss, but you report to yourself.
Yeah.
So the pressure comes from within. And I see the 100%, because you're the one pushing to do better, right? I mean, you wanted, so you're your own competition. Your last post was your competition. Your last video was your competition. So you're competing with yourself, not with anybody else. I mean, that takes away pressure out of you, first of all. So you're competing only with you. You don't have to look at a million other people posting, although take it as inspiration, but if you're your own competition, absolutely. Yeah. And also I look at failure in terms of like, I mean, if you're not trying, that is a bigger failure, because
Yeah.
regret is not like actually failing. Regret is actually not trying. I said it on a podcast yesterday.
Yes.
So it's not trying. So that is the failure, biggest failure.
Yeah. I would say that I have failed at every single iteration of capital business development to date, as well as every iteration of the business development podcast to date. And why do I say that? Because I had to fail at a piece of it in order to want to take that step to figure out how I could do it better in the first place. I don't think you get the best version of your company or the best version of your podcast or the best version of you as a parent or whatever until you have failed, until you have like recognized that for you, the last way you did it wasn't good enough, didn't meet your expectations, and you want to do better. Failure is about being better than you were yesterday. It's not so much about failing other people, which is, I think, unfortunately, the way that we categorize failure. People are like, oh, I don't want to let somebody down, or if my business doesn't go the way I want it to, I'm going to let those people down. I think most people don't care. I think first off, we put way too much power in other people to be like, oh, Kelly, he failed, right? Like nobody's saying that. Let's just kick that out the corner here for a second. Nobody is standing, across the room from you pointing fingers and saying you failed, sucker, right? It just doesn't happen, right? Failure is about you. It's about you. And I think if we can rephrase it as, a learning moment or an iteration, like I did a show last week on iteration. And I was talking about this exact subject, speaking to how, like I said, when I started Capital, I didn't have all the answers. I came as an employee. I didn't know much about entrepreneurship or business. Like so much of that has been learned in the last 5 years. Version 1 of Capital Business Development, by all accounts, was a failure, right? I didn't know what I was doing. Right. I didn't have my pricing right. I didn't have my model right. I didn't have my services right. I didn't understand what companies needed or wanted. I just knew that I had a service, like many people who start out in business do, right? Especially when you're coming from employment, you've only seen it from that world. So speaking to companies in ways that they need and understand is a learned skill that takes you many years and many iterations to get right. Does that mean that it was a failure? Maybe. But it had to fail in order to get to the iteration we're at today, which is a much better system, right? So you have to fail, and it's not bad.
Yeah. No, it is not. I mean, like you could actually learn when you're a good observer and when you observe things and you listen more. I mean, I try to listen more as much as I'm working on it. But so when you listen more, when you observe more, you can learn a lot of things without saying anything. So that's the best way of learning also. I mean, something that we could learn from a toddler or a kid. I mean, when they fall down, when they're walking, they just stand back up and start walking again. That's a simple gesture of like, okay, just like dust yourself, like get back up again and then keep walking. That's a simple thing that we could learn. But we often, when we grow up as adults, we take it so seriously, so personally, because we are so worried about the societal judgment and what anyone thinks. I mean, no, everyone has their own problems. So piece it out. So everyone is focused on their problems. You don't have to worry as much as like your problems. Your problems matter to you. Absolutely. I think everyone should strive to win 100%. But yeah, failure is fine. It's another lesson learned, and just keep going. I think if you can build a capability of perseverance to keep going, regardless of the outcome, I think that will take you somewhere, because every day is not going to be a win. Some days are going to be high, some days are going to be low. So on the days of low, all you have to do is just keep going. That's the only thing that is expected, regardless of whatever profession you are. Maybe your boss didn't treat you right. Maybe you didn't get the right response from your client. Just keep going. I mean, it's not a be all end all for anyone. So you should have the courage and then the perseverance attitude to just keep going. That's how I look at failure in a large context. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, me and you were both podcasters. So, first off, I'm just going to address the fact that my mic was super low. Sorry, everybody. I did figure that out and turn it up.
Oh, you did?
Thank you, Shelby, for coming down with a piece of paper. She's held it up. She's like, your mic is really quiet.
I could hear you properly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, oh my gosh. Let's talk about that. Failure, right? We just screwed up. We could call it a failure. We could call it an iteration. Next time I'll check and double check my mic settings, whatever. Point is that there's always going to be mistakes. It doesn't matter how long you've been in this game. Doesn't matter how long you've been an entrepreneur, how long you've been posting content, how long you've been doing anything. I still make mistakes all the time. It was funny. I was actually, my show today, I was talking about how do you bounce back essentially after someone ghosts you, right? Like I'm in business development, people don't show up for meetings, like stuff like that happens to all of us. And I think, when I look at myself as a young business developer, when somebody wouldn't show up to a meeting or they'd cancel last minute, I would internalize that and take it on myself and just be like, oh my gosh, like what do I do? It's all on me, right? What I realized later was that it's not really on anybody. You can just rebook that meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Right? Like 9 times out of 10, you can rebook that meeting. It's not a failure. It's about how you approach that situation, right? So, it's how you look at it. At the end of the day, and I would say now that is maybe my outlook, is that the way that I would approach that situation today is with calmness, with clarity, with empathy, with understanding. Where in the beginning, it would have just been like, it's all me. It's all my fault. I did it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it is.
So there is something to be said about maybe time and experience can kind of be that differentiator in how you internalize failure or whether you consider it a failure versus a learning opportunity or an iteration. But yeah, we all have to appreciate that we bring value to things and that life isn't a perfect picture, and that that no matter how long you've been doing something, you are still human. You still make mistakes. One of the things that I was talking about in that show today, VJ, was the fact that just last week, I had a wrong email and I couldn't figure out why this person wasn't accepting my meeting invite. I'd had them on the phone and then they didn't show up to the meeting. And I was just like, oh my gosh. When I finally called them, I'm like, hey, sorry, like, I don't know if I had this wrong. They're like, oh yeah, you just had the wrong email. Send that out. We'll rebook it for 2 weeks from now. Done.
Yeah.
Right? That was a failure on my part. But once again, I'm human. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think in terms of like rebuilding after failure, how do you actually approach failure? And the more I think about it, I mean, coming from an Asian society in India and South Asia, Kelly, the way they look at failure is it took a long time for me to even understand this concept. The way the parental pressure that's being put in the society is like you're either a doctor, engineer, or a failure. That's the kind of pressure the children are like put through, although it is changing rapidly in these days. But it is enormous pressure. Everyone doesn't want to be a doctor. Everyone doesn't want to be an engineer either. They are great artists. They're great musicians. They're great athletes, right? I mean, so everyone cannot do that, but that's a societal pressure kind of like pushes you to do more and better. And like, it's nonstop actually. I mean, I have the debate with my parents all the time, still like in trying to understand, like, hey, come on. Like, I think you have to let people try new things.
Yeah.
So that needs to happen. And in terms of like embracing and how you rebuild after that, and in a lot of these things in terms of like people not showing up to the meeting and things like that, a lot of things like it's our own imagination in terms of like, okay, it's overthinking, if you will, in certain cases, because that kind of like takes us into a different direction of like depression, sadness, and so many other things, right? So that is not very positive or healthy. Or when you look at mental health and all these other areas, right? So I think for anyone going through overthinking as a criteria, it's like just stop thinking. The way to stop thinking, I think Naval said in one of his podcasts or somewhere, I don't really remember where he said it, but he said it beautifully in terms of like, stop your thinking because it's your thinking pattern that's creating the problem. Stop your thinking and probably go take a book and start reading, or probably go start watching a movie. Go from your imagination to someone else's imagination. That will switch the thinking pattern for you immediately. Put a stop right there, and then you can come back at peace. So that is a way, probably, if you want to look at rebuild failure. Oh, you read something inspiring on a book, or maybe you saw something inspiring on a podcast or a movie. So you're choke holding the thinking pattern of overthinking.
Yeah, no, I like that. When I look at like every iteration, for instance, that Capital has undergone, because I'm just using that as an example, right? But every iteration that I've gone through with Capital has come at a point where I realized that what I was doing was not ideal, wasn't exactly working the way I wanted it to, but I didn't have the answers, right? I didn't have the answers.
Right.
And it sucks because, plenty of car rides. I've been in the car with Shelby and I look over and I'm like, I don't know what I'm missing right now, but it's holding me back tremendously. Like I could recognize that, like that one thing, if I could just figure it out, it would change everything, right? And it always does. Every iteration feels that way. Once it clicks and you see it and you're like, oh, that was what I was missing the whole time. I know you've experienced it. I've experienced it. I bet you nearly every entrepreneur on earth has experienced that moment where it just becomes clear what you should have been doing the whole time. But you need time. You need time for that thing to reveal itself, right? The latest iteration of Capital came literally from feedback on a different program that I was working on. And they're like, hey, have you ever thought about doing something like this? Because we're working with another company and they do this and it's really awesome for us. It's a different service, but like, what do you think? And I was like, oh my gosh, like that's what I was missing the whole time. I would have never came up with that on my own, VJ. I don't think I would have came across it in a book. I don't think it would like it needed, the universe had to provide it. Let's call it what it is. The universe had to provide that opportunity for me to look at it and be like, oh, that's the thing I was missing the whole time, right? But I guess my point is that is it a failure that I didn't have that answer until that moment? No, it came at the right time from the right place, and I was ready to receive that as the right information. It's not so much about needing to rebuild after failure. It's more about you have to be open to the big change that could be coming your way, that is coming your way, and that you won't see it coming, I think is the other side of it, right? And I talk about it on the show all the time. The best things that ever happened to me with Capital, the podcast, didn't see them coming. None of them were in the plans. The podcast wasn't part of the plan. Capital at one time wasn't part of the plan. All the iterations, not part of the plan. But if you're in the game long enough, that's the secret. The secret to success is simply not quitting. You can't quit. As long as you go in and you say, you know what? I know it's going to get hard. I know this moment sucks, but something better is right around the corner. Mark my words, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with you. I think having an open mind, it's easier said than done. But I mean, many people don't even realize, I mean, I've pushed myself to have an open mind on many of these issues because you cannot have an absolute statement on, okay, fine, this is it. This is it. It's going to be like this forever. No, you got to have an open mind on most issues, societal issues, on many issues, and in business development, in entrepreneurship, in everything, right? If you don't have an open mind, you cannot approach people. You'll not have that empathy or where they're coming from. I mean, if you will not have the courage to put yourselves on their shoes to see, oh, maybe that's why they didn't show up. Maybe they had a problem. Maybe they had a fight this morning with their spouse, right?
Yes.
We never know.
We
never know. The alternates of like in terms of having an open mind, if you like reading a book, beyond that, go watch podcasts. I mean, the reason I push podcasts as much is because what you can read in 2-3 weeks, you can probably summarize it in a couple hours, right? I mean, the biggest learning moment is, especially through COVID and whatnot, everyone thought, okay, fine, YouTube is in, now TikTok is in, now the attention span is only 5 seconds or 10 seconds, right? Now, all of a sudden, people are sitting and watching 2-3 hour long podcasts. Who thought that would ever happen, right?
No kidding.
So, go watch a podcast. Go watch business development podcast. Go watch Pathfinders. Go watch Authentic Hustle.
I need to go watch Pathfinders. VJ is awesome.
And most importantly, go watch Authentic Hustle.
Yes.
We bring new topics every week and start talking about it. Even though maybe we could be right, we could be wrong, but this is what we think on that moment, on that day. So having an open mind, super important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And recognizing that the path you plan is nearly never the path you will end up on. I think that has kind of maybe surprised me the most on my entrepreneurial journey, on my podcast journey, was that I didn't have all the answers. And even if I would have sat down 5 years ago and wrote out on a piece of paper, which I did, which everybody does, their goal list and how they're going to structure their company and what it's going to look like and what it's going to do, it's way different. Like way, way, way different. I could have never pictured where we would be 5 years ago. And so like if you're a planner and everything has to go to plan, business is not going to work well for you, because I can tell you almost every business owner I've interviewed, and at this point we're like at 161, so it's really clipping up here. It never goes to plan. It never goes to plan. And no matter how great and well done your 3, 5 year, 1 year plans are, they never go to plan, right? But here's the thing. It's not about going to plan. It's about being prepared to say yes to the next big pivot, the next great opportunity, the thing you didn't see coming, you could have never seen coming. And everyone likes to sit back and say, oh yeah, I planned it all, or I had it all figured out. And I can tell you, most entrepreneurs, they don't have it figured out. They don't have all the plans. They're waiting for that next big opportunity. And the secret for them was just don't quit. Be in it when that next big opportunity comes.
Absolutely. Totally agree to that. And anyone who are starting their careers or in their corporate environment or otherwise, and if you're looking for recognition as your sign of success, if you see that as a failure, folks and like sometimes managers you supervise may not see the vision that you're seeing. I've seen that kind of pattern emerge again and again because these kids like they want to do something else, and then the supervisor or people who are like approving authorities may not see from the lens of like what the person is seeing. May not apply just to the 20-year-olds. It could be a 30-year-old, it could be 40 or 50-year-old. It doesn't matter. But if don't wait for approval, just like spend more time in learning with your idea, or like like just invest more time and get better at what you're doing, and you will get your own approval. Don't wait for another person's approval. It's not going to happen, right? Because if you know something is not right, it is mostly not right, and just go investigate it more, like dig in more. You will find your answers. The gold is in there. You just got to dig a little bit more. So
Absolutely. Well, Vijay, I think we handled it. I hope we've inspired some people. I hope that they're not looking at failure like the end, but potentially the new beginning, that it pretty well always is, and that iteration is just part of the journey. It doesn't matter what journey you're on, your personal journey, your family journey, your business journey, or your podcast journey. Iteration is par for the course. It's mandatory. It is part of the success strategy. And you have to accept that it may not always go how you thought, but I think most times it'll go better than you ever could have imagined.
100%. That brings us to the close. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. Hope you have a great day. I wish you the best.
Wish you the best. Later, hustlers. We'll see you at 15.